We are in the middle of October, and for many people living here in India, that's the symptom, the sign, and the feeling of anticipation for a major festival season in this country. But unfortunately, if you're living in the national capital of India, come October, very predictably, the weather changes, there's a nip in the air, and there is also smog rising. Now, watching this happen as the air quality index in Delhi becomes poor yet again, one thinks of our sheer inability sometimes to see an obvious problem and be able to do nothing about it year after year after year after year after year. So I'm going to make a prediction of what's going to happen over the next 1 month. I can take for granted that the prediction will probably come true, so let's try without having to be Nostradamus. Delhi's air pollution, and not just Delhi, Chandigarh, Lucknow, pretty much all of North India, will get progressively worse. We'll be told it's getting progressively worse because there is too many cars. The cars run the entire year. It's a problem. We need to solve the problem in the long term. Then we'll be told Diwali is the problem. There's no Diwali right now. We're a month away. So there are no crackers being burst anywhere. Nobody's celebrating anything by burning things. So, but that's what we'll be told. Then we'll be having debates about, whether we should go green. But if somebody who bursts crackers, then is he a nasty person? Somebody who says don't burst crackers, is that person against Hindu culture? We'll be having this conversation. We'll be having a conversation around dust and spraying water in the air because that's going to sort out pollution. We'll be talking about outdoor air purifiers. That's also, trust me, it's been a methodology. Odd even, remember that? We'll ban half the cars. That will solve the problem. So we've tried these things. And the basis of science is that if you keep performing the same experiment with the same particulars and the same inputs, and yet you keep expecting different results, it's not a rather scientific approach. So why don't we just ban half the cars in the country? We don't, right? Why don't we bring in odd even every year? We don't, because it didn't work. Why don't we just spray water everywhere? We don't, because it doesn't work. So what's the problem? There are two primary reasons that the north of India gets choked, so much so that Pakistan chokes as well. There are two primary reasons. One are meteorological reasons, which you can't do anything about. A low pressure area forms, the winds slow down, the air gets heavier, it moves less, so it percolates and stays. I want you to think of a room which is closed, with all the windows and doors closed. You walk into the room, it's stuffy. Why is it stuffy? Because the air is not circulating. You open the windows and the doors, the air circulation happens. The great smog of London also was partly to blame because of a very long pressure zone that had formed over the city during the time of Winston Churchill. So number one reason is weather. You can't do much about the weather other than predict it, that this is going to happen. So we know it's going to happen. We know it's started happening. Just like the typhoons and the cyclones and the hurricanes, you can't do much about them. But some forward knowledge can arm you better. So there's no denying a part of the problem is beyond human control, at least modern day human control. 100 years from now, 200 years from now, I don't know. The second part of the problem is on your screens, that when we light 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 fires at the same time and start burning hundreds of thousands of hectares, where is that smoke going to go? We have this conversation every year. The problem with society now has become, this applies to the media, applies to you and me, is that if you now say that burning things is bad, you will be told you're anti-farmer. No, burning things is bad because the first person who's choking on the fumes is the farmer standing next to the field. So you're not anti-farmer. If you then say that there is better economic use for the parali, we are told it's logistically difficult to roll out. Yeah, if we can organize the World Cup, organize the G20, we can, on a mission mode, sort this out as well. It's not an easy solution, but I can tell you the solutions don't work. The outdoor air purifiers don't work. The odd even scheme doesn't work. The hoping and praying doesn't work. Action is going to work. So let's try to open up this conversation. I'm going to go to my guests and I'm going to just put you across some very vivid photography which will hopefully put things in perspective. Joining us on the broadcast, Dr. Ishwar Gilada. Sanjay Nath Singh is with us. He's Secretary General of the All India Farmers Association. Gautam Mukherjee is joining us on the broadcast as well. And Dr. Abid Amin, who's also a consultant in internal medicine, is joining us on the broadcast. Okay, Gautamji, let me start with you. So here we are again. We know what is going to unfold. You and I can predict that on the 11th of November, we'll be discussing whether Diwali crackers and Hindu tradition and culture have completely mucked up India's environment. We can predict it, but we are in it every year. What should we do differently this time?
I think it's politically impossible, or it seems it is politically impossible to ban the burning of the stubble. It's an irony, but once we got paddy cutting machines, 1 foot of this is left because the paddy cutting machine can't go any deeper. Before this, it could, when it was done by hand, you took it right all the way down to the nub. That's one. 2 is you've got 3 crops a year of paddy now in Punjab, Haryana, parts of Uttar Pradesh, which, coincide with this meteorological inversion so that the smoke cannot be blown away, and it hangs over Delhi and the NCR in particular, while it also does its damage elsewhere. Now, unless this is either tackled at the root level, where you say, look, don't grow paddy in Punjab, Haryana, and parts of Uttar Pradesh, because first of all, you grow an inferior paddy compared to that which comes from Madhya Pradesh and elsewhere. You are groundwater depleting at a fantastic rate. This was okay in the Green Revolution, because at that time we were literally starving. We were importing and being given food aid. But now it is down to politics, the MSP, which is what is making Punjabi farmers, Haryanvi farmers, and UP farmers grow the stuff when they are not ideally suited.
Okay,
for
Gautam Mukherjee, oh my God.
cultivation.
Toba, 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 blasphemy. You've said so many anti-farmer things in just one line. You have a problem with 3 crops a year. You have a problem with paddy cultivation. You have a problem with using too much water. I mean, sir, we should all be aghast. But of course, that's not the case. The case is just common sense that there is a problem. There are some traditions that needs to change, and those traditions do change. I remember a time when even ghar ka kooda, trash, was burnt. When the leaves that used to fall from the trees across the city were burnt in homes in 1,000 fires. It was absolutely routine until it stopped being routine. Some things can be brought to change. It is the ability to bring about change. Now, before I get into the doctors, let me just now put this into perspective. Can we get a touch screen on? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, can you get the full screen on so that we can show the entire thing, please? Pura dikhaiye isko. This is an image. Pura dikhaiye isko. Scale the screen so the entire thing is visible, please. This is an image of the number of active fires from October 2022. And you can see it. There are thousands of them. Okay. This is North India, primarily Punjab, parts of UP, parts of Haryana, on fire. It's on fire. Okay. This is happening in October 2022. I'm sorry, my PCR crew is struggling, but I think yeah, there we go. Okay. October 2022. This is North India on fire 1 year ago. Okay. This was what was going on. This is a photograph taken in Punjab in October 2022. You can see a farmer there. He's talking on his phone and he's inhaling all of this, but he has to move on. He has to earn a living. How else is he going to do it? What are his options? This is another satellite image from October 2021. Look familiar? This is a photograph from October 2021. Here's a satellite image from October 2018. Look familiar? That's Amritsar in 2018. Here's another one from 2017. I've gone back 6 years now. Look familiar? Now, here's an image from October 2017. So, we have a fundamental problem which for some reason we keep on examining every year, see the same thing and do nothing differently. So, let's have this conversation. Dr. Gilada, year after year after year, and you are a doctor, sir, a man of science, we are giving the same medicine which we know that doesn't work, having the same diagnosis, disagreement and argument every year, when we can clearly see the cause and the symptoms, but are choosing willfully to do nothing about it. What does that tell us about ourselves, sir?
See, basically this is an annual ritual, and thankfully I salute you that you have started 1 month before. Usually it starts after the stubble burning is going on. Secondly, I also salute the government of India for taking a meeting today, 1 month in advance. What I feel that, you see, rather we believe in preventive and science, preventive and social science. That is 5 levels of prevention. And the first important thing is education and preventing a lot of things which are going to happen. We need to put everything in order right now. For example, if you are shown satellite images, you can also show satellite images as well as drone images or CCTV images. Who is burning? As soon as you find somebody burning, put that person behind bar, make it a non-bailable offense. Let me be sound here as an
but we tried, sir, then we had to reverse it, no, because that was anti-farmer.
No, that's wrong thing, na? If somebody is, your lives are affected, then you first start that. Secondly, you should have incentive and disincentive both. That those who are properly disposing, you provide them incentive. And secondly, you ask them, you cut your crop. And for the first time I heard from official angles, from a Prime Minister's principal advisor, that there should be utilization of all the stubble for making some kind of biomass or some kind of briquetting. So I think that is the solution. That you ask people, farmers are interested in crop, you take away your crop, leave it to us. Put a government entire machinery, remove all the stubble, then make some kind of fuel. Either it's a biomass or it can be briquette which can be used in furnaces. That will be
but sometimes there are obvious solutions. So we know that for a particular treatment, this medicine is required, or this machine is required, or this instrument is required. But even knowing the treatment, as you've said, this is not new that you can use the biomass. If jalana hi hai, so may as well produce electricity over it over a period of time. No, or you can these days even dissolve the solvents into fertilizer. You can potentially create ethanol. You can do so many things, so that the technology exists. The problem, Giladaji, is the mass adoption of the technology, which of course is I'm assuming an economic barrier, and the second is the temporal barrier. Now, this is not your expert view, this is just your view as a citizen. The farmer has a week or 10 days. The re-sowing cycle is very short. If it was longer, perhaps they could go for some more manual, labor-intensive methodology. The fire is the fastest way. So, there is an economic imperative. What do we do? Because we can't tell the farmer take 3 weeks. He's only got 7 days. What do we tell him?
That's what I'm telling, that you put in government machinery. You ask farmer, when are you going to remove the crop? Next day machinery is available, remove the stubble. And you use all the same technology. But basically you put entire onus on the governments, because ultimately government keep on spending after pollution is happening. You lose lot of economical barriers. You have a lot of issues, health issues, economic issues. So you spend after it has happened. Other than that, government will spend in the beginning, and they will remove, and that stubble belong to them, whatever they want to do. Or you put some industry which your government is contracting them. You say that as soon as you get you take a NOC from the local panchayat, the panchayat informs the government remove the stubble. So in that way, everybody works. Here it has to be a multi-sectoral collaboration at government level as well as in the individual level. There should be individual responsibility, social responsibility, and governmental responsibility. And governmental responsibility should be incentive.
Let me get
non-available offense, everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They brought in strict and they removed the strict. Okay. So let me get the other doctor in before I come to Sanjanath Singh. Dr. Amin, now you and I both know that if we light a fire in a room with no chimney, shut all the doors and windows, we won't wake up the next morning. First the carbon monoxide will kill you before anything else. It's a known fact. Now, it's also a known and predictable meteorological condition that once you create a temperature change, which we have been describing as a temperature inversion, which means the temperature near the ground is colder, in the higher up it's a bit warmer, so the smoke settles. It doesn't rise. There's a reason that chimney stacks are so high, because they at least bring the smoke up a breathable zone. This is very much moving around. We'll see it moving around our houses. It'll become visible. We know this happens. Now, if I walk in a place and I see smoke, the aphorism goes, where there is smoke, there is fire. But we are told, no, these fires are not the problem. Everything else is the problem. It's the dust. We should spray water. The solution is outdoor air purifiers. The solution is odd even scheme. Why can't we even look at this straight in the eye?
See, if we talk about the environmental hazard, the hazard that stubble burning is bringing on us, it's not only just health hazards that we are talking about. See, we are talking about air pollution and its effects of air pollution on our health. There is a lot of things that I can discuss on that. But what about the visibility and the traffic accidents it's causing because of the low visibility due to the smog it's there? What about the degradation of the soil quality that is happening because of the stubble burning? And what about the greenhouse effects as we are talking about the climate change? But apart from that, being a doctor, I will tell you a few the facts that we don't know. We just focus on asthma, we just focus on COPD, we just focus on lung diseases. We see, okay, air pollution, that's all. But it's not the case. If you take the list of the diseases that occurs, that happens where you ascertain air pollution as a cause, you see there are a lot of heart attacks which increase due to air pollution. There are a lot of strokes which increase due to air pollution. There is hypertension which can occur due to the air pollution. Then there are neurological causes, cognitive decline like Alzheimer's and all, which can cause due to the long-term air pollution. Then yes, pregnancy can be affected. There can be low birth weight babies born because of the air pollution. And nowadays there is a concept that the insulin resistance is increased due to the long-term exposure of these air pollutant particles,
in a nutshell,
which can cause diabetes as well.
In a nutshell, guys, it's a really bad thing. Okay, in a nutshell,
it's very bad.
So now there are a few people, I'm sure more than a few people who live in Delhi who have a very convenient holiday home in Goa to go away for 2 months. but the majority of Delhi and the NCR, and not just Delhi, it's Chandigarh, it's Lucknow, it's Jalandhar, it's Ludhiana, it's Amritsar. Okay, I mean, you can go into Lahore and Multan and have the same problems in Pakistan. So let me just tell you now a story. Ladies and gentlemen, when the motor car was started, there used to be a problem in old engines called knocking. It still exists. That the combustion particular point, if it varies in petrol, then some genius came up with an idea, scientific idea, that if you mix lead into petrol, it solves this knocking problem. So they started making leaded petroleum. Delhi, the national capital of India, was the pioneer in banning of leaded petroleum. For people who are born in the last 20 years, they don't even know the concept of leaded petroleum. I do. My guests, I'm sure they do. So we had something called unleaded fuel, and Delhi led the way, banned it in 1997, before the rest of India followed in 2000. Delhi led the way in CNG buses. Delhi led the way in metro. Delhi is leading the way in adoption of electric vehicles. Delhi was the pioneer, the national capital was the pioneer in doing all of these things. Now let's get a different perspective from Sanjay Nath Singh. Sanjay ji, in the end, it's a logistical, practical and economic problem which completely overweighs the impact it has, because the first person who chokes is the man who lit the fire. So let me discuss the practical considerations for you, for people watching the broadcast. In the 3 sowing seasons, how much time roughly does a farmer with an X number of acreage have between removing, cultivating the plant and re-sowing again?
Okay, we are generally talking about, we are specifically talking about the rabi crops, which are the winter crops. Okay, now, and the Kharif crops, they are generally, they are sown in the months of May and April, May, June, and which is harvested around this time, October to October end kind of period. And this is when the farm fires actually increases. And the reason is that the window available to the farmer is just about 2 weeks. And though we have had a lot of these advancements and innovations of decomposer and to decompose the stubble, unfortunately that takes minimum 3 weeks to decompose. So the farmer doesn't have the time, because he needs the soil in a particular condition. Certain amount of moisture is required to sow the seeds for the...
So what is the standard operating procedure, sir? So now you have cultivated your crop, and I'm assuming a majority of farmers, at least in Punjab, are they using machinery, or is it still hand cultivation going, as in the hand cutting going on?
You see, a majority of them are using machinery, and that is why these machines, they leave a very long stubble, as compared to when the sickles were used to harvest the crop. It was generally much more, they used to leave a smaller stubble.
Okay, so let's say the harvesting has happened. They've used the harvester machine, and they've come and done the harvesting of the paddy crop or wheat crop. Now they have stubble left. Now, in order to prepare the field for re-sowing, why light it on fire? Is it just to remove the stubble, or is there any other reason?
It is basically to remove the stubble, as well as also to it recharges the soil as well. It acts as a kind of I would say
nitrogenous compounds get added.
Nitrogenous compounds get added to it. So that is also a reason. But if you look at the air pollution per se in Delhi, if we talk about Delhi, this is not the only reason, and I have been saying it year after year in your debates, that this is not the only reason and this is not the only, it should be attacked. This should be controlled. We should try and incentivize the farmers by taking away his stubble, by paying him for the stubble a particular price, but and try to...
no, but I'm asking a specific thing, sir, because there is an ice age, then there is a hot global warming, pollution might not be the only reason for global warming, but it might be one of the reasons. But if I can see a fire and I see smoke, I generally put two and two together. So I'm going to leave the other reasons out of it because that becomes a very complicated conversation. The question I'm trying to get to you is, we have 10 to 12 days. That's it. Now this decomposition idea is out because it takes 3 weeks. So that is out. There's no point running after that. Doesn't work. So how do we remove the stubble? Is there any methodology available to us? Is there anything else we can do other than burn it?
Yes, there is something that we can do, and that is, this air pollution or farm fires, majority of it comes from Punjab. And in 2009, if you recall, I hope the year I'm quoting is correct, there was a change in the Punjab government's policy, not allowing the farmers to sow paddy prior to June. When it was not allowed. April, it was not allowed. Now, what has happened? Earlier, it used to be April, and then you harvest it much before the colder weather, the cold weather starts setting in. So that was postponed. Once you prepone it, and that was done basically because of the availability of water. They expected in the month of June the water availability becomes better, and hence the pressure on this water, the water as a resource, is lesser during that period. So they postponed it, and that has caused this kind of farm fires more towards the October end. Supposing
is there any removal, tilling, combine harvester, any methodology, mechanical methodology to literally uproot the stubble and remove it? Is there any way of doing it, sir?
Yes, I am told these are available, and but these are very expensive machines, and I suppose the farmers themselves would not be able to afford them. It is possible to make bales out of these, and which can go into thermal power stations.
Okay.
Okay. But so it's available. But the government has to come in either through cooperatives or something like that, and provide these machines in each district, each area, each tehsil, so that it can be used by the farmers in that. And no farmer will be able to afford it, because this will be used only once in a year.
Okay. The baling machines can cost anywhere between 2.5 lakhs and 5 lakhs. Now, let me put this into perspective. Money, Gautam Mukherjee, the air purifiers costing us between 10,000 rupees up to 50,000 rupees if you want to go for the really fancy ones with all sorts of touch screens and automations and app control. And we are now having, forget putting one in the house, one is now having to consider putting one in every bedroom. That's a cost to be borne. So it's not like the cost of, forget the health costs and other costs and treatment costs and other costs. The very fact that we are having, many of us now have a air purifier as part of our, sort of a white goods thing. You have a washing machine, you have an air purifier. So what is the issue here? It can't be money, surely.
Well, I think that we have a lot of unemployed farm labor. There is no reason why they can't be paid something like an MNREGA kind of system, and they can come and cut the stubble. That way, there is a dual benefit. People get paid, and this is done in 10 days is enough for them to cut it.
Gautamji, as I mentioned a bit earlier, there used to be a time when it was perfectly routine to burn your trash, or to burn the pattas at least that gathered in the balcony or the chat or the courtyard. It was very routine. That routine changed because we have a systematic removal and a trustworthy. I remember even the garbage department used to come, and the community, dump, they used to just light it on fire because that's the easiest way of getting rid of the trash. But that methodology changed. In the cities now, that's very rarely done, that you would go to your roof and burn your trash. So methodology can change. So why are we struggling? What's the thing? You say politics, but what's the thing? Surely our efficient form of government, surely it's not about Aam Aadmi Party versus BJP. Surely we can all agree on this.
No, it's politically damn near impossible, because first of all, 60% live in the rural areas, And secondly, they've been pampered right from 1947 with a number of benefits because they were the riots in British times and bore the burden of taxation for most other people. Now they have no taxation. They are, completely exempt, and they are the biggest voting bloc in every single state. No politician dares mess around with them.
Okay, which is good. You should mess around with farmers, but there are two kinds of farmers, ladies and gentlemen.
When they mess around with you, you just take it.
No,
that's what's happening.
Like I said, there are two kinds of farmers. One is the farmer who is a laborer on a farm. Then the other is a farmer who owns 10,000 hectares and drives in a Mercedes. So let's also not confuse the two kinds of farmers, because of course you pay zero income tax on farming income as well. And there is no coincidence that the maximum amount of Mercedes sold in India are sold in the state of Punjab. I am a Punjabi, I can tell you that there is an aspiration. So now let me come back to practicalities. Money can't be the problem in modern day India. That's not the thing. As I'm sitting here, there's an air purifier next to my chair. I can tell you that air purifier costs 29,000 rupees. Okay, I could have happily given away that 29,000 rupees to someone to pay them to remove a bit of paddy, remove some CO2 from the atmosphere. But no, we do it. We don't believe in prevention is better than cure. We always believe in the opposite. So let me come to Ishwar Gilada for a last thought. Ishwarji, what is it going to take differently this time? Because before I call you on the 11th of November and debate with you that Diwali is to blame and this is to blame and that is to blame, we know the fires are being lit. It's about 1,000 fires over the weekend. It will double, triple, it'll rise exponentially over the next one or 2 weeks. We know it's going to happen. What should we do different this time?
No, I think what the government has started is a good thing, that 1 month before they started, they had involved 4 different state governments. They involved Department of Pollution Board and Farmer and everything. So I think they will take definitely some steps. But basically, as Mr. Sanjay was saying, that they need a moisture. Now, if you burn a stubble, how will you get a moisture? It is anti-moisture. Secondly, you're taking that, again, being a farmer association, you will think that you should be paying for stubble. You don't want to remove the stubble. Government is going to come and remove. Then again, you want the farmer to be paid for stubble. That is something which is extraneous demand you are having. So I think we should put up onus on farmer. It's just like a smoker or a tobacco chewer. You are enjoying smoke and you are putting the smoke outside. Let it harm to other people. You are chewing the tobacco, you are spitting, let it harm others. So same thing, you want to enjoy the agriculture product, but you don't want to take responsibility of removing stubble. Okay, fine. Government should remove it, put it into action. And most important thing is that from 32 years of average age in India, we come to 71 years. We are not reaching 81 because of this reason. One of the reasons is pollution. So 81 is a desirable age of if you are born in India, you should have 81.
Okay.
It is not.
Let me put a bottom line. Delhi is only the place where we recorded the most because frankly all the news channels broadcast out of Delhi. But it's all over North India. And this is the capital city of the country, which is becoming unlivable in the months of October, November, early December. The capital city of the country is becoming unlivable. Everybody lives here. Chief Minister, PM, Union Ministers, secretaries, bureaucrats, all of them live here. They all live here. And they're all having to put air purifiers in their houses. All of them. That's a wake-up call as any. So it's an India that believes it can do things now. So let's believe in this. Last thoughts, Dr. Amin. What should we do different this time?
Frankly, you discussed that someone is smoking and letting the smoke outside, let others pay for it. Someone is chewing the tobacco and then let other pay for it. So if you need to find a solution, you have to stop that guy, or you have to convince the guy from the smoking, or you have to convince the guy from chewing that tobacco. So how do you do it? You do it by the help of the government. You do it by the way that you generate, you give education to the people concerned, or you go there and you have some camps with them and you tell them, you inform them about all these things, that whatever they are doing, it's not only happening.
Dr. Amin,
Yes.
I've just shown you satellite images, or shown the viewers rather, you can't see them, from 2017. We are in 2023. Now 6 years later, sir, I mean, what could we not educate in the past 6 years? What do you think the problem was?
See, I tell you personally one thing. If you take the example of COVID, once any disease becomes on a larger scale, say for example, recently we have faced the endemic of dengue and other communicable diseases. Once it becomes on the larger scale, then a population, it realizes the thing that it has now become a very big challenge for us. So currently, maybe as per my thoughts, people are not thinking that it can become a bigger health hazard than COVID.
So let me give you an example of how things go off kilter. Okay, so there were floods in Delhi, ironically, just a few weeks ago. And in those floods, what did we spend time doing? The Delhi government is blaming the neighboring government that you do not maintain the dams. The neighboring government is saying this agency was meant to maintain the dams. The agency says Delhi government didn't pay us to maintain the dams. So after the flood has happened, we are trying to fix the dams. Divers are being called in from the Indian Navy that after the flood has happened, we will now try to fix the dam. It is, I'm sorry to say, ludicrously insane, laughably, okay, and it takes place. Sanjay ji, before we end up next month all blaming each other, I'm sure we can do something different this time.
You see, I don't think there's something immediate that we can do right now, because what we need to do is to prepone the sowing season for the paddy. That because we need the rice, we need the crops to feed so many crores of people, and the population is growing every day. The arable land is coming down. So we have to do something about it. We have to look at it on a long-term basis. As far as a short-term basis, well, palm fires, yes, they do cause pollution. There's no doubt on that. And what we need to do is to also tackle other sources of the pollution, which is not happening, like traffic congestion. Look at the traffic congestion in Delhi. It goes crazy.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem in Bangalore. It's a problem in Bombay. It's a problem in Calcutta.
Everywhere.
It's a problem in New York. It's a problem in London. It's a problem everywhere. So, like I said, Delhi on this front has taken the lead. From starting with leaded petroleum to CNG to electric, it's taken the lead. Metro, I can think of so many examples. But surely we should take the lead in turning electric, which doesn't end the pollution, at least shifts it. Ladies and gentlemen, India still needs coal-fired power plants. It's an economic necessity. Farmers have 10 to 12 days to resow their fields. This is what they do to do it, because there's no better efficient way available. Please find one and let's make it happen. The national capital of the country is about to become unlivable for 2 months of the year. What are we going to be? Like the British, shift to Shimla? That can't be the option. And we certainly can't do Punjab government versus Delhi government versus Haryana government versus central government versus UP government versus Himachal government. What the heck is going on? Anyway, important conversation, unless we can do something about it. Thank you to my guests. Hopefully, we don't have to come and sit and discuss this every day for the next 1 month. Fingers crossed.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.